Hello everyone, and welcome back to Planet Coaster. Welcome back to Avalon Acres. And we're into episode 5 then, and we're finally working on our first ride for the park. I was going to say this is a bumper episode today. It's a big one because this took absolutely ages to do, but I've chopped down the video a little bit to squeeze it into sort of half an hour, because I don't like the videos getting too long. And I do think the Main Street one was a bit too long, and you know, you just lose sort of concentration, I feel like, when you're watching a speed build or a time lapse for that long. So with this one I've tried to cut it down, especially building the queue, which took several hours for the queue alone, and it's pretty boring to watch, so I've cut a lot of that down. First of all, then we'll talk about the ride I'm building. So I've gone for the Haunted Mansion ride in the Spooky Pack, and I'm going to be using quite a lot of that theming as well. So the sort of idea we're going for is a haunted castle with different rooms, with various different scenes in them. A pretty standard layout really for the Haunted Mansion. It just had to all fit inside the castle, and because of the track type and how you can do really tight turns, it's no problem to get it all to fit in. This isn't a track layout that we stick with once we get towards the end of this video. You won't see me actually edit it, but I've changed the second half of the layout because it actually picks up a lot of speed going downhill. So for the scenes that I'm going to add in the next time that I work on this ride, it would have been going through those parts too quickly. So we decide to play about a bit with the layout and change it. But for the first half of it, it pretty much stays the same as how we've got here. The queue line, it took so long because I should have just built the path on grid. But instead I was trying to be too clever with it, make it go up and down and round and stuff. So just making the walls go there, they all had to sort of come off grid as well. And you know, because you view this from all different camera angles, you want it to look right when you go in. You don't want there to be bits of wall missing and stuff, and bits that you can see through. So a lot of it was just getting the walls and floors and roofs in, and making sure it all looked right. And I don't really add much theming to the queue line, to be honest. We keep it pretty simple, because there's no point in wasting detailing on that, because you're only going to look at it for a few seconds and then get straight on the ride. And I didn't want to use up too much of the theming that I want on the actual ride itself. So yeah, we kept it fairly simple. You can see the archway there is quite clearly where you enter the ride, so that's pretty straightforward for the guests, and the exit just comes out to the right hand side of that. I am quite happy with the theme that we end up coming out with here. There's some bits of the ride that look amazing already. It's a theme that's been done to death many times, but you know, you can always sort of do your own thing with it. Now I'm getting a bit better with custom scenery and stuff. There's some things that we had in here that I think you know, are quite unique and make it look more interesting. The first thing we worked on then for the ride itself, well, for the theming for the ride, which is going to be the majority of this build and the next one, is this coaster door, which was an absolute pain in the bum to get timed correctly. It's still not perfect, even after spending about probably a good 20 minutes alone just fiddling about with the sequencer and stuff. It just doesn't want to do what you tell it to do. So unfortunately, for some reason with this ride, they've made it so it's trains, so it's free cars to a set of free cars to a train. And apparently that's how it's meant to be, and you can't change that. You can just add more trains, so you have to get it so that all three of them are going through the door when it's open, so it doesn't close through on them and clip. And it's very close how I've got it there. think the first two get through alright, and then the third one struggles a bit. But it's just how it had to be done because it's so damn awkward. But yeah, it's cool that we can have timed events and stuff. Like you know, I can't criticise them for that because you know it is a really cool thing you can do in the game. The first room then that we work on here, well, but sorry, before we do the first room even, we work on the station itself and the station room. And again, not wanting to use too much of the scenery up on the station, but it needed to be themed a bit, so we just put some basic stuff in, like the bats, the animatronic bats and that sort of thing. Try out some custom wooden poles here, then I realised that the actual spooky pack fence itself looks far better, just for the bits that stop people walking onto the track in the station. You know, the barriers there, where normally they'd all sort of line up. But they don't do that in the game, which is fine. So yeah, just a bit of safety, but we sort of try and theme it in as well, best we can there. And yeah, other than that, the station building, I'd like to say the station part didn't really take too long to do, but it was still, you know, still a fair bit of a job, because you've got to, well, ideally really you want to get everything in first and then put the roof on, because it's so difficult to build things underneath it when the roof's in with the camera. Every time you move the camera about, you go through the roof, and not only that, you can end up trying to place something and it just places it above the roof. So yeah, it's better to get all your theming in first. Then just giving the sort of door there a bit of a frame, using the wooden pieces. Like I say, for any theme you don't have to just use the items that they give you in that are meant for that theme. Like I use all sorts of different pieces for this particular build, just to try and make it interesting, really, I suppose. It's better to, I always think it's better to think of what you want to build and then see if you can do it with them pieces. But then sometimes I just do end up scrolling through the different scenery pieces and seeing, well, this says it's going to be spooky, so let's see what they've got. And yeah, that didn't really make sense, did it? I know what I mean. But yeah, I'm definitely getting more into building my own custom scenery now, using the pieces, which you will see a little bit later on in this build. Just here then, covering up the, I know there is a way to do it, but I couldn't for the life of me think how. I went through all the settings of the ride, seeing how to disable the supports, which on this are literally just ghastly purple poles, which you really don't want. You know, they look like like the track designer on No Limits or something. They don't even look like supports. Then I realised that I'd have had to actually go into the track edit mode and take it off there, so I'll probably go back and do that anyway. But these beams might stay anyway, because I think they look quite spooky. They might go back and add some cobwebs or something. Actually, that's just an idea that's just come to me just then. That might be quite a good idea. Just finish the scene off with some cobwebs and spiders and stuff. Overall, it's a family style ride. Not that this is a very realistic park anyway, but I'm not going to make it super scary. You know, it's not going to be a terrifying ride. Although having said that, there are a couple of bits that jump out of you and stuff that we put in later. What we're doing here, then obviously a lot of the time when you're building inside and you've got a facade on the outside for the building, you want to make sure that things aren't clipping through at all, and they can't be seen from the outside. So every now and then you'll see me sort of poke my head out of the building to make sure that the things haven't gone through. But really, yeah, this station area is just quite simple, just a few windows. Like I say, I went in and put in some sort of shelving with a couple of books on just custom bits, just to had a bit of interest behind the station. I think I put some candles on there as well and that sort of thing. But yeah, nothing major, because I want the real theming to be on the ride, which is what we start doing here. Oh, sorry, just taking a swig of water. First thing I put in then is some stairs, a big staircase, because this is going to be like a hallway to the castle building that then takes you to all the different rooms. Now, to start with, I had it as a dark ride section, because obviously this is a dark ride, but then I decided when I finished it, it just looks too good to leave like that, so we build a big window at the front, so that's going to be visible from outside the castle. That's the one part of the castle, well, maybe not the only part, but as of yet the only part you're going to be able to see in from the outside. So put some guest pathing and stuff around the edge of that so that they can look in. But yeah, I was going for the grand hallway kind of idea that leads straight up to a set of stairs. And these are all custom made with planks and stuff. What I wanted was a sort of carpet, the rough carpet going up the middle. It's all very old fashioned, very sort of spooky, like medieval type, you know, like rustic sort of feel. Lots of wood everywhere, lots of panels, lots of sort of gothic, almost gothic type things that maybe wouldn't fit into this theming, I don't know, but it looks good. That's the main thing. We also put in some chandeliers in here. They are entirely custom made, and they're the thing I'm most proud of that I've put into this build. You may only see them on the ride for about 3 seconds, but I think they look absolutely brilliant. So they're probably the main reason that I put the glass window at the front so you can look in. But I will now leave you to enjoy the rest of the build, and you can see what I work on in all the different rooms. We've probably got about 50% of the ride complete in this video, and you can really see how it's starting to come together. So I'll come back to you at the end of the video. Enjoy the time lapse, and I'll see you then. Right, so you can really see how it's taking shape now. Obviously we go up the stairs, we go into the bedroom, and all the typical spooky stuff like the swinging curtains and the spooky windows and lampshades and wallpaper to give it that really old-fashioned spooky feel. And as you can see, I put in a custom bed which I actually made out of marshmallow pieces or something like that. So I don't know how I found them. I was just scrolling through and I thought these are perfect for an old mattress. And then the gothic fences are the bed frames, and it looked massively out of scale to start with, but then when I actually did a POV of the ride myself, it actually looks about right for a big sort of 4-poster, you know, king size bed. And yeah, those cake pieces or whatever they are the game gives you are absolutely massive. I couldn't see how you'd ever use them in context unless you were building a huge cake shop or something. And that was obviously you know, part of the facade for that. But they work perfectly for an old mattress, for a dirty old bed. So that's what we go for in the bedroom, and put all the bookshelves in and the books, which takes a bit of time because I like to vary the colours on all of them, have some of them sort of stacked in different ways and stuff. After that we'll go into a tunnel here where we have the ghosts coming through. Not a lot of room I really had there, so I just put in sort of what I could. Which pretty much brings us to the end of this build. You can probably now see what I mean by putting in the big glass window that you can see the chandeliers from. And yeah, I'm so happy with how this has all come together so far. When I started the dark ride I wasn't that excited about it. I thought, right, I'll just sort of start working on it and see what happens, but it might look quite generic. Now that we're sort of halfway through it, I've really got the feel for how the rest of it's going to look. This is going to be a star attraction for the park, you know, along the lines of Disney's Haunted Mansion, Magic Kingdom, or whatever it's called, you know, that sort of thing. Heavily themed. So thank you for watching. I'll leave you to see a few cinematic shots, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye bye.